There's money sitting inside what you've already built. Money that you've stopped seeing because you're busy chasing the next thing. When revenue feels shaky, the first instinct most founders have is to chase more leads, run more ads, post more content, pitch more podcasts, get visible. Sometimes that is the right move. Sometimes you genuinely have a traffic problem. You have so many money opportunities in your business, but you're so close to it, you just can't see it.
My guest today is a dear friend of mine.
One of them goes, that one over there, she's big money. And it was my guest today.
Her name is Amy Porterfield.
Amy Porterfield, the ever amazing
best-selling author of 2 Weeks Notice, Miss Amy Porterfield.
If I told you that starting tomorrow, you could not get a single new lead for the next 90 days, what would you do? So no new ads, no fresh traffic, no new email subscribers. Whatever you have in your business right now is what you have to work with for the next 3 months. And you have to generate revenue. So my question is, what would you do? I asked a room full of women this exact question at a recent Millie Club event, and their hands flew up before I even finished asking. And for those of you who do not know, the Millie Club is my community for women scaling to 7 figures. So these are founders with offers and email lists and podcasts and memberships, the works. The answers they gave me are the reason that I'm doing this episode. They were really good because what they said is true for almost every business at your stage. There's money sitting inside what you've already built. Money that you've stopped seeing because you're busy chasing the next thing. So today I'm walking you through 5 of the opportunities they shared. These are 5 examples of places to look in your own business this week without spending $1 for another lead or building anything new. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit subscribe on YouTube or follow on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. That's how you can be sure you get new episodes every single week. All right, let's go ahead and get to it. Before I dive into the 5 opportunities, I want to highlight why this question matters so much. When revenue feels shaky, the first instinct most founders have is to chase more leads, run more ads, post more content, pitch more podcasts, get visible. Sometimes that is the right move. Sometimes you genuinely have a traffic problem. But a lot of the time, you have so many money opportunities in your business, but you're so close to it, you just can't see it. So this 90-day question, if I told you that starting tomorrow, you would not get a single new lead for the next 90 days, how would you generate revenue? Well, it's a diagnostic. It forces you to stop looking outward and start looking inward. Because when new leads are off the table, you have to ask better questions. Which offers are converting and which ones have stalled? Where are people dropping off? Who's already paying you that you've stopped paying attention to? That's where the new money opportunity is. So founders who can answer those questions, they're the ones who build businesses that grow predictably, with or without a big launch, with or without a big lead push. Also, a quick note before I get into the 5 opportunities. All of these opportunities came from my Millie Club members, but not all came from when we were live in the room. Some of these ideas were DMs to me days later, once they've had the time to run the numbers. So I tell you this because if you dig into your business just a little bit and you get curious about the data, these opportunities will arise for you as well. Let's start with the first one. The first opportunity came from a woman who said that she would build an alumni offer this exact week. She has a signature program. People have gone through it, of course. She's got them results. And once they finished, she had nothing else to offer them. They were her best buyers, and she had no next step to keep them in her world. So she shared, if I couldn't get a new lead in the next 90 days, I would stop overlooking the people who have already trusted me, paid me, and gotten results. I would create something for them. So this is one of the most underused revenue levers that I see in business at this stage. You've been in business for years. You have past customers, and you're likely neglecting them. Your past buyers are your warmest audience. They're already have that trust for you, and they already have pulled out their credit card once. And creating an opportunity to expand your relationship with them, it just might be the best next move. It doesn't have to be complicated either, and this part's important. Think about what your alumni would want next after the transformation that your signature offer gave them. And what's the natural progression? Again, keep it simple. What's the deeper version of the problem that you help them solve? So you can absolutely pull from material that you've already created. I encourage you to do so. The lift is low when you've got existing content to work with, but package it around the next step problem, adding some fresh new like live coaching or some kind of component like that, and make sure it's positioned as the natural progression from what they already did with you. So keep the scope just really tight, price it accordingly, and email it to that list. Let's think about the math for a second. According to marketing metrics, you've got a 60 to 70% chance of selling something to an existing customer. That's a lot. The probability of selling to a brand new prospect, it drops to somewhere between 5 and 20%. And 20% is probably generous. That's the difference between someone who already trusts you and someone that you've got to convince from zero. If you don't have a clear next step for people who've already bought from you, that's the first place to look. Okay, the second opportunity came from a woman who said that she had an offer that used to sell really well, but she hasn't actively promoted it in over a year. She hasn't retired it. It's still on her website, still part of her offer suite. And every once in a while, someone buys it. But she hasn't talked about it. She hasn't emailed about it. And she hasn't built a campaign around it in a long time. She said that if she couldn't get a new lead for 90 days, she'd give that offer a real push to her existing audience. She'd write a short email campaign, talk about it on social, and add a small bonus, and treat it like a mini launch, even though nothing about it is technically new. Now, I want to be clear here. I'm not talking about offers that don't fit your business anymore and that you've outgrown. Those need to go. I'm talking about an offer that still belongs, still converts when you promote it, and still serves the audience that you're building for. Think about your own offer suite right now. Is there something like that sitting on your sales page? Like maybe it got crowded out by something newer, or maybe you just got bored of it for a while, or you decided not to build a campaign around it this year. So if you have a neglected offer like this, build a 2-week email campaign around it. Talk about who it's for and what it solves and why now. And you'll be surprised how much money is sitting in something that you've simply stopped selling. The third opportunity came from a woman who said that she'd take one of her Evergreen offers and run an email promotion to her list. So your audience hasn't bought your Evergreen offer for one of 3 reasons usually. Either they haven't been reminded of it recently, or the version they saw before didn't give them enough urgency or maybe specificity to act on it. Or at the time they saw it, they didn't need it, but maybe they do now. So you can fix all 3 of these things in one campaign. Choose an Evergreen offer that you already have. Build a 1-week or a 2-week promotion window around it with 1 or 2, no more than that, bonuses that genuinely make it better. And maybe a short live training that connects directly to the offer. And then put a real deadline at the end of it that really goes away when time is up. Now you have something that feels different to your audience, even though the core offer, it hasn't changed. That makes things more simple. The mechanism around it is what's giving them a fresh reason to pay attention. Okay, the fourth opportunity came from one of the women in the room who had a membership program, and I know many of you do. So after the event, she went home and she ran the numbers. Then she DM'd me, and she said if she could drop her churn by just 2 percentage points, that was an extra $10,000 a month for her. $10,000 a month from people who are already paying her just by closing the back door a little bit more. So here's why retention is the most invisible lever in your business. You don't notice retention until it's gone, right? Someone cancels in the middle of the month and you might not see it for a few weeks. Then 3 more people cancel and you still might not catch it because your top of funnel is bringing in new members at a similar rate. So your attention is on new signups while the back door is just swinging open. If you have a membership, a recurring program, or any kind of subscription revenue, this is the place to look. So I want you to do a quick exercise. Run the numbers on what it would look like to reduce your churn by, let's say, 3 to 5%. I'm pretty sure that number will be enticing enough for you to want to focus on it. So ask yourself, when people are canceling, is there a pattern around a specific month into their membership or a specific moment in their journey with you? Maybe they hit a milestone and feel like they're done, or they hit a wall and they can't get past it, so they stop showing up. The answer to that question is worth real money to you. And one thing I want to say about the example specifically, the reason this woman could answer the question so precisely is because she went home and she ran the numbers. The better you know the numbers, the easier it is to pull these levers, whether you need a quick cash injection or you just want to do less in your business and do it better. Your conversion rates, your retention rates, and your lifetime customer value are what give you options. And if you can't tell me right now what your churn rate is or what your Evergreen converts at this week, you've got some work to do to make sure you know your numbers. Now, the fifth and final opportunity. So this one, I want you to pay really close attention to. One of the women said that she has an Evergreen funnel that converts at 1.5%, and she ran the math. If she could get it to 3%, that was another $100,000 a year for her without driving any new traffic or changing the offer. $100,000 from increasing her conversion rate by 1.5% on a single funnel she's already built. The point I want to make sure that you hear is that the conversion rate itself is the lever. When revenue feels shaky, almost every founder I talk to starts looking for ways to get more people into their funnel. But the funnel you have, it's already working. Improving the rate at which the people coming through it actually convert is usually faster and cheaper than going to find a whole new audience. The woman in the room, she knew her conversion rate. What she hadn't done was actually map out what fixing it would be worth it in dollars. The minute she did, the lever she'd been ignoring became the most obvious place to focus. So here's how to find what this could actually mean for you. Go look at your funnel data and pore over it and figure out where people are dropping off. Maybe they're not opting in, but maybe they're opting in, but never opening your email. Or maybe they're opening, but they're not clicking. Maybe, this is a big one, they're signing up for your webinar, but they're not showing up. And speaking of the webinar, maybe they're attending your webinar, but not seeing the value when you move into the pitch, which that's a really big opportunity. Don't even get me started. Each one of those drop-off points tells you exactly what to fix. So a weak opt-in means the lead magnet needs work, or maybe the messaging. Low click-throughs on your emails means the copy is off. A webinar that isn't converting means something is likely off when you move from teaching to pitching. Your audience is just not seeing why your offer is their next logical step. Find the single weakest link in your funnel and fix that one thing first. And one practical thing to add here. If you want a shortcut, go study 3 other people's webinars or funnels in your space, especially ones that you know are converting higher than yours. Notice what they're doing differently in their pacing, their pitch, their call to action, and the way they're telling the story around the offer. So, one thing is you can use Claude to help you analyze the differences. I do this all the time. And then you're going to choose one thing at a time to test on yours. There's money sitting in a funnel you've already built. Okay, let's go back to where we started. The question was, if you couldn't get a single new lead for the next 90 days, what would you do to generate revenue? And the good news is I can help you answer that question. This is something that I dive into inside my live free training for multi-6-figure female founders. So today was a starting point. The 5 opportunities we covered are real examples of money sitting inside your business. But it's actually not the whole picture. There are some blind spots sitting in your business right now, specifically in your marketing, and I want to help you find them. Inside the training, I take you deeper into your business and help you figure out your marketing blind spot, the one causing you money and time, and exactly what to do about it. So sign up at amyporterfield.com/free training. Thanks so much for tuning into this episode. There's so much money already sitting inside the business that you've built. You just have to be willing to look for it. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit subscribe on YouTube or follow on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. I'll see you over at amyporterfield.com/free training. Talk to you soon.